Bullshit!
What's going on, guys? You're chilling with Trainer Zabuza, and today I've got a Little Cup battle for you. Now, this Little Cup battle is with my 6th generation team, and look at my opponent's team threats. I'm gonna have to say Volby because they're massive defensive tanks, and with Brave Bird and Knockoff, they can actually pose a somewhat significant offensive threat too. Obviously not to a wall, but maybe to something such as my Pancham, you know, despite the type advantage, or let's just say Litleo, that's a better example, because they can still hit really hard with those high base power moves, but my Pokemon just aren't able to keep up with the damage. Another threat is Lileep, being a specially defensive threat, can set up with Stockpile or just stall me out. Drifloon is something else I have to watch out for, with Unburden and probably either Acrobatic... Oh, actually, I don't have to worry about Unburden Acrobatics anymore because there's no more Flying Gem, but Berry Juice Acrobatics is still a thing, so that's something I need to watch out for. And finally, honorable mentions go out to Shieldon and Bronzor, which are both Stealth Rockers. This team may seem a little weird to you. This is actually because this battle's with someone who I gave away one of my Little Cup teams to. And it's not exactly, I don't think it's exactly what I gave him, like he substituted a few of his own Pokemon, but it's pretty similar. Anyway, let's get to the battle. First off, I just want to apologize if I sound a little weird in this battle. I'm again recording from my different location, aka my room, as opposed to where I usually record. I'm going to start off with my Noibat and go for the taunt as he starts off with his Bronzor to get up the rocks, as you can see. And the whole reason I let off with Noibat was to get the taunt off because this team has no hazard removal, and I don't like hazards being used against this team because, well, there's no hazard removal. But anyway, I'm going to U-turn out afterwards into my Honedge just because I know I can resist its main stabs. Sure, it can have Earthquake, but I don't see why it would have gone for it against a Noibat. And I make a pretty good call going for the Shadow Claw, or going into Honedge, instead of maybe Litleo to get off a Fire Blast, because now he's going to go into his Lilu, his Lileep, thankfully provided by, specially provided to by Antar1011 during the giveaway. But that's actually a pretty bad matchup against my Honedge, unless he had like Hidden Power Fire, which I don't think it did, because I'm able to knock it out with a Stab Iron Head and a Sacred Sword. So now he's going to go into Volby as I go into my Pancham predicting the knockoff, and now I'm predicting the the Brave Bird. So I'm just going to go for a parting shot. I was sure that I wouldn't survive it, but I just thought, you know, on the off chance I want to reduce its attack and then switch out. However, he switches into a Drifloon, which is really confusing to me. Just, well, not really. It's confusing to me. And here he goes for the Thunderbolt. This thing is Scarfed. It's not Unburdened, it is Scarfed. Because I know he's Scarfed because I'm Scarfed. And Drifloon hits maybe 17 or 18 speed, I think 17. And so does my Froakie. So there had to be either some kind of speed tie there, or he just had the odd number of speed EVs. Anyway, I'm able to knock him out with an Ice Beam, but not before he gets off a Thunderbolt, which really hurts. And thanks to Parting Shot, I'm able to survive. But now I'm going to go into my Litleo, wanting to keep it as fodder as he goes into his Bronzor. And the Psychic does a pretty good amount, lowers special defense, but it's not that big of a deal. I'm able to try and go for the Fire Blast, however he brings in his Skrelp. And based off that damage, I'm thinking maybe he's a Violite, but probably not. He's either physically defensive with the Violite, or he's just Berry Juice. And that's pretty much all I can gain from that, because it didn't do a lot of damage, but I think it did enough. So I'm thinking maybe a Violite. So in comes Shieldon on my taunt, because I didn't want that thing setting up any more Toxic Spikes. And I'm going to U-turn to break the Shieldon's Sturdy, and go directly into, Jesus Christ, I can't talk, into something that can handle it, my Pancham. And I guess it's good that it's just regular Toxic Spikes and not Toxic Spikes. But still, I'm taking residual damage, and that's not a good thing. So he's going to go for the Ice Beam just to get off damage, and it would have been super effective against my Noibat. But on the predicted switch, or if he just didn't want to switch, I just go for a Storm Throw, knowing it would do good damage to anything on his team except the Volby. However, that does pretty good damage in its own, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can knock that with another one. Except he goes for Brave Bird and knocks me out. Which really makes me wonder, why didn't he go for it last time? That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I kind of just brush it off, and since these things are physically defensive, not specially, I go into my Litleo. And, you know, poison, whatever. Turns out he is Choice Scarfed, Volby. What the fuck? Now, I'm not saying that because my opponent is... I'm not saying that to be offensive to my opponent. I'm saying, holy crap, that's random. I mean, it's not a bad idea. Volby has some pretty good attack and speed, I think. But just to be running a Choice Scarf set when everyone runs defensive, definitely a surprise. So now he's going to go into his Skrelp as I'm stuck with my Litleo. I'm going to go for the Yawn just to force him to switch out. And I figure that nothing I can do right now is going to really affect his Pokemon, so I figured go for the Stab option that won't miss. Because I know he could go into Shieldon, he could have gone into Skrelp. I just go for the Hyper Voice, so because either way, he had Pokemon to resist it. So, I'm going to I'm going to get knocked out to the Poison, which it's okay, I just needed a free switch. I go into my Honedge, he's not going to switch out his Shieldon. I go for the Sacred Sword, 4 times effective. Even if I'm defensive Honedge, you're not taking that. Because what is that? 70, 140, 280 base power? 280 power at that point. Yeah, you're not taking that. So, on his Skrelp, I go for the Shadow Claw to test the damage, and I'm thinking, you know, that's pretty good damage. I can probably get off one more than a Shadow Sneak. And that's what I actually plan to do. I go into my Noibat here just to take the damage, or to take the hit, as he goes for Sludge Wave. I don't take it well, but I take it well enough that I can get 1 HP back if I need to, or I can survive on 1 HP. And I'm going to go for the Hurricane as he brings in his Bronzor. Go for the Taunt because I do not want you setting up rocks. I need to be able to switch here. As he goes for the Psychic, it does quite a bit of damage. And with the special defense drop, I don't feel safe going for the Roost while he has that that special defense drop. So I'm going to U-turn. Wow, I cannot talk. Jesus Christ. I mean, in my defense, I just got through doing a 2-hour Showdown Daily, which actually has to get removed because because for some reason Camtasia didn't record the audio. But whatever, I just have to do it again. But he brings back his Bronzor on my predicted Shadow Claw, and looking at the damage, I see that it's probably not going to be enough just to go for Shadow Sneak. I'm probably going to need one more Shadow Claw and then a Shadow Sneak. So I'm going to bring in my Froakie as fodder. I'm glad I saved this thing as fodder, because now I can go back into my Noibat. I can go for the Roost to prevent some damage as he goes back into his Bronzor, knowing full well that this can wall me. I guess I decided to just go for the Hurricane to knock it out. Really, Roost would have been the better option, so I don't know why I wouldn't have gone for that, but I can't really... This battle was a while ago, so I can't speak perfectly for what I was thinking at the time, why Hurricane would have been the better option. But he's finally able to get up his rocks, unfortunately, as I go for the taunt, the late taunt, and it's just... that was bad. That was bad. So now I'm able to go for a U-turn, go into my Honedge, and go for a Shadow Claw. But not before he gets a crit Psychic on me. But thankfully, I do survive, so there's that. If it was... I'm just so glad that it wasn't like a max damage roll or something, because if it was, that probably would have knocked me out. So now I'm going to go for the Shadow Claw, knock out his Skrelp with a following Shadow Sneak. And I think that's it for the rest of his team. I think all he has left is Bronzor. So he's going to send out his Bronzor now. I'm like, okay, I got this in the bag. Shadow Claw, gonna knock it out, boom. Doesn't knock it out, surprisingly. He's gonna go for the Psychic and knock me out, but you know what? It's okay. I've still got... That thing is at a very low range of HP. I still have Noibat just in case, but I'm gonna go into my Skiddo, which I haven't brought out in this battle yet, which means it's fully fresh, ready to go, and ready to butt some heads. So I'm gonna go for Hornleech, knock out Bronzor, and that's gonna be the end of the battle. So thank you for that battle, Ilir. I hope you're enjoying your Little Cup team. I would love to have another battle when you make a new one. So on to the talk of the day. Today's talk of the day, you guys may have noticed, and I did not point this out during the video, I have a new battle layout. So what are your guys' opinion on it? Do you like it? Do you think it's better than the old one? With this layout, I did commission someone to do it, and they did a pretty good job. I think that what I really like about this, it's kind of a mishmash of my old layout with my new layout. And my old layout used to have a moving background with the screen in the middle, and then just the icons on the side with the in-game sprites. But you can't really do that anymore with the 3D models unless you record it yourself. It's just a very long process and difficult, and I'm not going to bother trying to explain it. But I decided to go with a little more artistic route this time, with using some images of the Pokemon instead of just the in-game sprites. So tell me what you guys think. Do you like this new layout? What would you change about this layout? And yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed that video and the new layout, and I will see you next time.